Not only does he say it in the speech, he tweets it out as well. These are two right in front of your face examples of Donald Trump cheating. Guys, real quick, do me a favor. You don't have to do anything in terms of spending any more extra money. Just do your normal shopping using the link below in the description on Amazon. Use your money for things that you need while at the same exact time supporting the channel.
So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop.
We want all voting to stop. We want all voting to stop. That's Donald Trump on election night. That's how he first started his grift. That's how he started his cheating. Literally on election night. That's election night right there. We want all voting to stop. But what he's meaning there is the voting count, the counting of votes. He didn't want the votes to be counted anymore. Now, can you guys imagine if Joe Biden's speech and he said that? And by the way, Joe Biden let's reverse the roles, because he's saying that because he can see that he's losing, right? But let's say that Joe Biden is also at that same moment is losing, and he gets up there and he says, we need to stop counting these votes. We need all voting to stop. What would happen? What would MAGA say? Now all of a sudden they'd be crystal clear-eyed, wouldn't they? They all of a sudden they'd be like, wait a second, what do you mean we need to stop all the votes? What do you mean we need to stop all the votes, Joe? They're not counted yet. But you see, he did that in front of the dumbest people on the planet, MAGA, and they took it all in. And he continued to do this type of thing throughout the entire time, all the way up until January 6th. He did that kind of shit over and over and over again. In fact, he did it with right afterwards, right here. Let me show you. Not only does he say it in the speech, he tweets it out as well. Stop the count, he says. What's this called? When a candidate who's losing doesn't want the count to be continued and he wants it to be stopped. Anybody want to give me a clue as to what that would be called? I'll tell you what it's called. Cheating. That's what that's called. This is what the Republicans do. This is what Donald Trump does. That's right after he just told them, a few nights or like a week or so earlier, he said, yeah, we need to stop the count. We can't stop these votes from coming in. We don't want them anymore. That's what he wanted to do. He did that in front of the dumbest people on the planet, MAGA, and they all took it in, and they still to this day defend him, acting like he won and that the whole thing was rigged and that he should have won and Joe Biden lost. And then they say that Joe Biden was the one who cheated. And these are two right in front of your face examples of Donald Trump cheating. It gets worse for MAGA. Let me show you something else here. Donald Trump, once again, cheating, right? How does he cheat? Because, listen, he lost. But what is he going to try to do?
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
No, you didn't win the state. You actually lost the state. That's why you were behind and lost by 11,779 votes, which is exactly why he asked, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not paying attention, he lost by 11,779 votes. And so therefore, he asked for specifically 11,780 votes so that he can win. What's that called? Anybody want to take a guess what that might be called? It's called cheating. Yeah, that's what this is just one of now 3 examples of Donald Trump cheating in your face. Then he did the electorates in Wisconsin, the electorates in Michigan, the electorates in Arizona. Then he incited a riot and tried to stop the certification by force, causing an insurrection. These are all things that Donald Trump did in MAGA dummies' faces, and they still watch last night and think that Donald Trump is being honest with them when he says that he was cheated, when he simply lost. This is what happened factually, ladies and gentlemen. But let's get back to the dingbats announcement yesterday.
Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you.
There's no information that he brought yesterday or will ever bring that's been covered up from the American people. This was, again, he's just saying this. There's nothing that he brought about rigged machines or anything, which is what he's implying here. Technological interference. He's implying that here. Listen.
Exploitation and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you?
It's not been hidden. He did not bring any of that information last night as well. It was once again him just saying it. That's what he did. He just said it. That's all he did. He didn't bring any proof whatsoever. He just said it. And we continue with his complete and utter lies. This is Donald Trump more. This one he's talking about the 2020 election was rigged with negative articles. This is Donald Trump. Nothing new here. This is him bitching and complaining once again about people saying bad things about him, right? So this, according to him, is proof that the 2020 election was rigged. This what he's saying is proof. And again, we normal people like you and me who's watching me, the normal people, not you MAGA dummies, but everybody else, we know that people just saying things is not proof, right? You have to have actual tangible evidence, like something that you can show beyond a reasonable doubt that this is what happened and here is the proof. You saying this doesn't mean anything. But you see, this was touted as Donald Trump is going to be making announcements tonight about him and showing proof that he won the 2020 election. So he goes up there. All he does is say things, and that because the MAGA dummies were told, well, it's going to be proof. Since he said it, that's proof enough for them. But it wasn't proof. Let's listen to what he says here.
The Chinese government sought to identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could.
Now, here's the thing that we do know. Like, I'm not even going to deny that could possibly have happened. That could have very well happened. China could have paid some reporters. We don't know of it though, because there is no proof of it. But I'm just going to give you the benefit of that. Like, let's just pretend. Like, I don't believe that. Do not get me wrong. None of that shit happened. Literally everything that let me just preface this by saying every single thing that this guy says is a complete and utter lie. It's all provable that there's no lies. And one of the ways that you can prove that what he just said is a lie, there's no evidence of it. You see how that works? Like, it's so easy. There's not one stitch of evidence that any reporter whatsoever was paid by China to write stories negatively about Donald Trump. But we do know that there's interference from other countries. We do it to other countries too. It's just a thing, right? They try to influence the elections in some way, right? Russia did it with us when they influenced the MAGA dummies into believing that we're not even a democracy. Go ahead and tell them right now in the comments. Pick your nearest MAGA, everyone, and tell them that we need to protect our democracy. Watch what they say to you. It's the funniest thing to watch what happens when you talk about our democracy in this country, and you can tell the stupidity. Like, just watch what happens. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. Watch, and like you can get them to do anything you want. Like, I swear to God, these MAGA, they're that dumb. But watch this. Watch. And by the way, what they're going to say, I'm going to tell you right now. I don't want. They're going to say that we're not a democracy. Watch what happens. So we need to protect our democracy, everybody. We have to protect our democracy. Yeah, that's something that we've got to really, we've got to protect our democracy here. I mean, we really need to work on protecting our democracy. Watch what happens. We have to protect our democracy. We have a winner. Alan, where is it? There it is. God damn it. Boom shaka. God damn it, you were right, Alan. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I know Alan's not going to do me wrong. I knew he was going to help me. Alan, God damn it, you are so right, bro. Look, there it is right there. We are a democratic republic. I mean, you got to love it, bro. We got to protect our democracy. They hate the fact that we're a democracy, man. Like, they don't even like that anymore. They hate our democracy, bro. I swear to God, and they always talk about how we're a republic. We are a democratic republic. That's what we are. It's both combined. It's mixed up together, right? And they hate the democracy part, though. They don't like that part. They hate it. And you want to know why? I'm going to tell you the reason why. Here's the secret. They don't like democracy because it starts with democ. So they don't like the Democrat part. They like the Republic part, though, because it sounds like Republican. That's literally the reason why. Isn't that the dumbest thing you've ever heard? It's the truth, though. They don't like our democracy because it sounds like Democrat. They like the Republic part, though, because it sounds like Republican.
the Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election. And the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them.
Donald Trump, just so you know, if there's anything that we know now, that one of the last things that China would have wanted was for Donald Trump to lose. We know that. All you got to do is just look at what's happened. China, because of one guy on earth, one person, literally one guy on this planet, has made China more powerful than they could have possibly ever dreamt. And that's Donald Trump. So, no, I'm sorry. The last thing that I'm ever going to believe is that China wanted Joe Biden, who was tough on China and Russia. They didn't want those guys, him to win. They didn't want Kamala to win. They wanted the weakest one that you can possibly have, and that was Donald Trump. Donald Trump sucks Vladimir Putin's balls every single opportunity that he gets, and he does the same thing with Xi Jinping. All he does is kiss these people's ass. And now, when Donald Trump became president, he started an all-out war in terms of tariffs against the entire world, which was one of the ways that China started to pick up their power by gaining so much more trade by every country that was our trading partners, that was an ally for us, that we were making deals with, and they all went and flocked over to China, including the biggest country in the world, India, with 2 billion customers. Are now a part of what China is dealing with when it comes to their trade. And that all happened because of one guy. So if you're going to tell me that China did not want Donald Trump to be president and they wanted the tougher person, Kamala Harris, you think does anybody now, MAGA, I'm not talking to you, okay? Just understand. I know you guys are stupid, so you don't understand what's coming out of my mouth. But everybody else with a brain in their head, which one do you think China wanted? What did Xi Jinping want? Did he want Kamala, who was going to remain tough on them and make sure that the United States stays dominant over China? Or do they want the weaker pussy guy who sucks his dick every minute that he can and also is going to do everything that he possibly can to push the entire world away from the United States so that they come barreling over to us in China? Which one do you think they wanted? I mean, it's a simple question. We all know which one China wanted. All you have to do is have a logical brain in your head. It makes logical sense, let alone literal sense.